So there are a number of things leading to me making this video. My Slayer Master has given me a heap of abyssal demons to kill, so I can talk freely without concentrating too much on the game. My parents are out, so I'm not going to be getting any funny looks for talking about RuneScape to myself. And my Camtasia free trial has broken and given me another 30 days for some reason, but I'm not complaining. So I figured I'm gonna sort of do a bit of a behind the black mask sort of thing with me. A little bit different from the typical turn a recorder on and talk for 15 minutes. I've actually got some form of exoskeleton. Here are some things that I want to talk about. Because a lot of the stuff that I have got to say has sort of come into the public light recently, so I figured it's given me the confidence to talk about some of those things. But I sort of want to mix this in with an update kind of video as well, so you're not missing out on the ramble. So, as I said, the man behind the mask. I'll start off with saying that for a very long time now, I've actually had absolutely no interest in Tournament All. I'm not a competitive person or anything. I've spent the past 3 years of my time playing RuneScape just sitting down and playing it without sort of thinking about that stuff. I don't want to play RuneScape. I tend to just log out of it. I don't go and sit and tap knights with my foot or AFK Nightmare Zone for 20 minutes when I have to go and empty the dishwasher. I just log out and, you know, enjoy the time away from the game. But I have absolutely no interest in Tournament. I just sort of wanted to keep going with a list of goals that I had written down, and I'd like to think that I've got to that point, or I'm very close to it at least. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop playing the game. I don't really want to leave any of this behind because it's something that past me worked really hard to achieve. Built myself up from a noob who started in played in 2013, but never really got a foothold into this whole efficient skilling craze that swept old school in its inception. So back end of 2013, I think about October or November, I joined Texas, so I've probably already passed my 4 years or something in the clan. Jesus Christ, that's a really long fucking time actually. I sort of had all these ideas embedded into me pretty early on, back when the community was a lot more purist than it is now. And I like to think I'm one of the only ones who's sort of sticking true to it. Someone who practiced what they preach. A few updates that I really disliked were the max cape, mainly the introduction of it holding all 23 skill cape perks, and diary rewards, and the further sort of decrease in the time it takes to get the skills to do them, but like the increase in how good the rewards are. So, I have no max cape, I have no crammed gloves, I'll just NPC contact because fuck those two pieces of content, I'm not going to endorse them. A bit off topic there. But that's the whole my breed of player dying out or being silenced is something that sort of led me to make this video, and I'll get into it a bit later after I get past the sort of ramble part of the video. So, as you can imagine, the question by anybody who cares is, well, what am I going to do? Or what are you going to do? And, it's a question I've asked myself a few times as well. Just for the record though, ging quitting is going to be a huge blow to my confidence. I have done nothing really for the past 2.5 years, nearly 3, without him holding my hand and getting me through some of the more deadly things. The first month of 3-tick fishing was really bad. Hand hurt because I was a bitch and I had only done agility for like 2,000 hours. And then some of the other stuff that was really hard to get into the rhythm of was astrals. Coming out of a 200 APM skill and going into a 3 clicks per lap skill, that's really bad. That did numbers on my mental health. It's not good. Well, I've sort of sat down and thought about some of the stuff that would be a little bit nicer to try. Written down some positives and negatives and general thoughts about them. So because I'm pretty bad at talking, I'm just gonna list them, maybe with a few thoughts wrapped in with the rest of it. So there are 3 skills I kind of want to do, all for different reasons. And you know, whether I do those skills is going to change. Is going to depend on how my ideals change going forward. The first and most obvious skill to stick out would be Slayer. I'm approaching the halfway mark. I'll probably get 100 mil maybe next week, depending on how much I have to work. Which will be quite nice. Something that I don't think it really has any place on my account, to be honest, because that's a lot of fucking Slayer XP. It's probably just over 2,000 hours of Slayer because I do a relatively low XP an hour task set just because I enjoy it a lot more than the barrage heavy task set, and you know. So yeah, that's a lot of time. But for the most part, it's been relatively comfortable, for lack of a better word. It's somewhat fun. It's really easy. You know, I'm just clicking a monster and waiting for it to die. You know, it's really not that mentally exerting on the brain. So sticking with it for another 1,800 hours wouldn't be too bad, I guess, if it's something that I want, you know, to sink my teeth in long term. Probably try and keep the current task set even after finishing Magic, just for the defense XP. So it'd be alright to stick with, really. I could afford to continue doing it, to bank supplies and, you know, continue slaying the way that I have been, which would be pretty nice. So it's sort of the first one to cross my mind is Slayer. I'm kind of not a fan of the huge influx in overall XP it offers though. For someone who just sort of spent the first 3 years of the game doing fishing and agility, to then end up with 1.6 mil XP is just a bit overkill, I guess. I have absolutely no desire to be on top page or anything. I really like being a nobody. I've been on second page for over 3 years now, which is pretty great. I was on second page before I maxed as well, because I was in the top. I was top 50 to max. I was 36 or 7, I think. I can't remember these things. Might have even been 39, because I know a heap of people got banned. So yeah, I kind of would like to hold off from the the big XP or overall XP gaining sort of skills. But I mean, Slayer's pretty nice because it is, you know, long term, a very big thing to get your teeth stuck into. And 1,800 hours is an extended period of time, so it would fill that criteria of keeping me busy for the next probably year at current pace. 1,800 hours a year of RuneScape sounds realistic to me. It's a really long time though. It's not sure if it's something that can maintain its sort of appeal for such an extended period of time because there are those days where it is really fucking boring and your tasks don't really work with your attitude towards the game. I want to sit down, I want to watch something. Oh, here's smoke devils and, you know, 3 black dragons and some Suquas. So you could probably watch the first 3 minutes of the episode, but then you'd have to pause it and hope that you get a decent task. And then there's the other times where you just, you whack on the music and you want to just get some good RuneScaping done, and you're stuck killing abyssal demons for fucking 3 hours, and it's just mentally draining for the opposite reasons that I mentioned. And another thing that really appeals to me with Slayer is the fact that I haven't sold any of my drops yet. I'm at 100 mil and I have everything still in my bank, which is pretty damn nice. A lot of people have done 200 mil Slayer and shown a tab. Jace showed his when he got 200 mil, which is awesome. But the thing with my tab is that I still have the big drops. Despite some hearts that I sold off back when they were upwards of 60 mil, I still have all the whips coming up to 170. I've got all my occults, all my dark bows, they're all still there. And I think that would be a really nice thing to sort of have at the end of Slayer, is just a big, nice picture of everything that I'd earned over the realistically 4,000 hour goal. Because the 73 mil XP that I did with strength was done at about 40k an hour, 45k an hour or so. And this current bit here is about 56 or so, so kind of evens out to 50k average. So I think 4,000 hours would be nice to assume. But yeah, that's a lot of time. It's over 2 years of Slayer really, on my account. But it's comfy for the most part. I definitely do not mind slaying for an extended period of time. However, another card that is on the table for me is doing tunnel rune crafting through lavas. Pretty comparable to Slayer in the amount of time that it would take, but I'd kind of like to do this to sort of finally flick the V's publicly to Tunnel. I don't use alternate accounts, so Runecrafting Hunter and maybe Blastmine are my only real sources of income. So if I was to just eliminate over 2,000 hours of money making, I think it'd be pretty great public statement to say fuck 200 mil all, and definitely count myself out of the runnings for it. Which would be nice. I also think that post 200 mil imbues would be wonderful. Do an extra 30 mil XP through imbues whilst doing lavas. And I guess runecrafting's even though it'd only be about 2,000 hours for me because I've already made a decent stab towards it with 65 mil done at like a mix of natures but mostly astrals. It's still a big thing to go for. I'm not really one for sort of public recognition or anything like that, but it would be a very big skill for me to go for. And I don't think it'd be that bad. I've never done lavas before, ever. So I think it'd be kind of nice to give a shot because I've never really touched them. I was gonna do them when there was all the controversy about them in very early 2014, but I just couldn't be bothered because I was almost done with double astrals at the time. So Yeah, I just did like the last mil XP there instead of pissing about with lavas because the stuff was kind of difficult to get on Zybez. I, again, similar to Slayer in the fact that it'd probably take a year, maybe more, to finally finish off, and I still don't really know if I'm prepared to commit to something like that because it's a lot of RuneScape, and I don't want to gamble with my motivation when it comes to the game. But that's definitely on the card. That's definitely on the cards. The thing that all these skills that I'm talking about have in common is the fact that I have made a decent stab towards them in the past. The Slayer is already at nearly 100 mil. The rune crafting, that's a good, 1,000 hours of it knocked off. And what I'm going to talk about next, mining. I've got 60 mil mining near enough. I mentioned in another video that I really liked Blast Mine, but similar to Slayer and runecrafting, that's a year of mining to get the remaining 140 mil XP. And I also said in that video that I viewed mining as an extension of money-making method. I viewed mining as an extension of making money, but I'm really at the point now where I just don't need money. Slayer could probably pay for everything I really wanted to do on my account. Still have no desire to do any of the crappy Bibles. No herbal, no prayer, no crafting, just suck. So I've got no immediate use for the money if I was to go and do Blast Mine, despite it being really good fun. I really liked the days where I was just scraping through with money, just being able to afford the astrals and the trees that I needed. So having extended amount of wealth, make about 2 bill from doing Blast Mine, and it's not that bad for non-alt users just because of how shit runecrafting is for making money these days. Like, runecrafting for money is really bad. You should never do it. It's terrible. Go do lavas. Yeah, it's not too bad to do, so I wouldn't really feel bad about doing it for that reason. I just wouldn't want the extra money that it gives. And also, the thing with Blastmine is that it's great content, but it definitely cheats you out of what I consider to be the final frontier of efficient skilling. Term I might have used in another video, I'm not too sure, but I definitely think the 3-tick granite, the 4G, is yeah, really fucking good. Definitely worthy of the title Final Frontier of Efficient Skilling, and as someone who genuinely loved fishing or has just romanticized the idea of it, it's something I want to experience again, with that sort of pushing myself out of my comfort zone when it comes to skilling. So it'd be a really nice thing for me to try and do for personal reasons. I'd be pushing myself out of my comfort zone again. I'd be achieving what I think is one of the more impressive 200 mils personally, and just it'd be a nice little end to my progression from the agility and then step it up to the fishing, and then finish it off with the mining being the final thing I'd do. But yeah, I've got a decent stab towards mining. 60 mil. That's a decent chunk. Could probably get 200 mil mining done in what is it? It's like 140 mil XP. I divide that by 6. Divide that by 115 because I suck at RuneScape. I could probably get that done in about 6 months. So, I mean, that's a definite thought for me. It'd be something very nice to try and sort of conquer. Um, because it's just a lot of fucking clicking for a lot of fucking time, and I'd definitely like to try my limits with that. Um, so yeah, that's on the cards as well. Out of all of them, if I had to say the most attractive one, I think it would be the mining. Um, the only real negative I have for mining, albeit personal, is that the Varrock Plate Body 4 looks fucking disgusting. Something I'll get onto a bit later, but yeah, fuck that. It is too good not to use. Mentioned about not using Foundry Gloves, it's a couple of seconds on every task, but we're talking hundreds of hours not using that, so I think I'd be in a corner to use that really. I already have it as well, so yep, hypocrite. Um, I really wish they'd sort of do what RS3 do, and you can get the effects of something as long as it's owned. So things like a chance, well, 25% more marks of grace at RD. You don't have to wear the cape to get that. It's a perk added to your account. I wish they did the same with the Varrock Plate Body, because you're not sacrificing anything wearing it, because it already acts as a prospector top. So it's not as if like you're losing anything from not using it, because the set that you would use it with is it's already a part of it for some fucking reason. So I think if anything like being able to wear full prospector and still get Varrock Plate Body effect, I'd probably jump straight into mining, no questions asked, just because it's something I've really wanted to push myself with for a while. As much as I tell myself that Blastbind was really great and everything, it's still robbed me of that experience doing what I consider to be the most challenging method in the game. Realistically, most challenging method in the game, not counting like perfect prayer laps or anything like that. That's ludicrous. So yeah, that's the most attractive one, really. I do like it. I do like the idea of trying mining, and yeah, they got rid of that random camera movement as well, so that'd be even better. So yeah, mining sounds pretty fucking nice at the moment. But the main thing with that is it's lots of clicking for lots of time. Yeah, and I remember with fishing that I did have to neglect the clan a lot with fishing, just because of how much of my gameplay, external gameplay, sorry, it restricted. So I was very much a silent gen for the entirety of my the entirety of my fishing career. I mean, I was still available on Twitter or TeamSpeak if you ever needed me, but I definitely neglected the actual clan chat, and I don't know if it's something I really want to do again. It's the only negative, but it's a definite negative. Really, I think my hands could handle it. I don't count that as a negative. I'm good. I've got good hands. I have fingers. And I said there were 3 skills, but I'm going to slip this one in anyway because I don't really count it as a skill. It's farming. I have money to finish it, despite it being ludicrously expensive, but I'd still like to finish it. I threw this in as a bit of an impulse, just because it'd only take me about a year to finish it. There are no positives to doing farming really. It's just something that I'm going to have to do every day, something that's going to cost me money to do every day. It's just sort of going to be there, but I don't know. I'm relatively close to it. I could just do some trees for a year and finish it, which would be quite nice considering a lot of these achievements would take around about a year to do. But yeah, it's really got no positives. It's still stupidly expensive. I don't want to. The last time I paid for magic seeds was when I started fishing in September 2015, and I was buying the magic seeds because I'd always buy the seeds and put them in the pots rather than just buy the saplings. I don't even know if you could buy the saplings at that point in time. I really can't remember. Um, I just put them in the pots, humidify, and then do that because you'd save like 3k or something on planting them, and it was pretty easy. Pretty easy money to save. But I seriously didn't buy any magic seeds after that bit because I bought like a year of farming, and fishing only took me 7 months from 20 mil to 193. So I had an extra bit left over, and I wasn't paying more than 80k for the saplings, and I'm really not comfortable paying an extra 100k on top of that. I'm not someone to complain about the price of magic seeds because they are a luxury. I mean, back in the day, you wanted to get magic seeds like 180k. My God, you jump on that. Fucking hell. So it's definitely a luxury to have them, and especially just have them on queue. You don't have to buy one at a time. They are, go to the G, whack your offer up a bit, and get them. So I'm not complaining. I understand why they're expensive, and I appreciate that, why they are expensive. But as someone who has money, I'm not willing to invest the money into it, even if it is the only thing I'm going to spend my money on. It's still a bit stupid, with them being so ludicrously expensive. I think I did quite a decent bit off herbs when I was doing astrals, just some side cash. Got some torsals, found some torsals, which was pretty fun. Maybe I'll do them, but I don't know. Post farming life is amazing. Once you go, because it was around this time last year where I actually fully stopped farming. I still had some tree seeds left over, but I just stopped completely because it's it was um it was just rubbish with Slayer because you'd want to do the task and then you wouldn't do the task because tree run, and I just couldn't be bothered in the end and just never went back to it. So yeah, I'm not sure if I want to leave the post farming life behind because it's really nice. But it's there, and I could go against everything I've just said here and go for the option B being quitting. Um, I played RuneScape a lot. I've been here a long time, not just on old school RuneScape, but also on the main game. My account is over 11 years old, I think. Pretty sure. I went and bought my 10-year cape at the start of the year, so we're getting on to 11 years now. And I'm 20 years young, so this game has been part of my life for over half of it, and I like to think that I'm fully accustomed with how the whole thing goes. I watched the destruction of RuneScape firsthand, pretty much, and now history's repeating itself, and I'm watching it again. Um, but the main thing, really, for me, with with old school, I'm not. I know that a game like this is bound to deteriorate over time. It's the way that this game works. It happened with EOC, and it's going to happen with this game because the community is just impervious to liking the most iconic part of the game, which is the grind. RuneScape is a game where everything takes significant time investment. To put it bluntly, everything takes a really fucking long time to do, but people don't like that about the game, despite it being the most iconic part of the game. And they are just determined to have less RuneScape to play because they don't like the game, they just like the number that comes at the end of the game. That's all that matters. Fuck the game, fuck the world, fuck the immersion. I just want a big number. And this is coming from someone who's got a pretty nice number. Um, But aside from that, the big no-nos for me, three major ones, are further deconstruction of the interface, the graphics, and the combat. As far as combat goes, more specifically, area of effect weapons, AoE weapons, like this flail they've talked about from River of Blood. You can tag all these Abbey demons and just AFK with this fucking flail and hit all of them. I'm not a fan of that. The interface is still majorly the same, despite some of the XP drops, these orbs, and the world map. The fixed screen is, still the fixed screen for me. If I want to check my special attack, it's here, not up here. I want to check my stat boosts. My stat boosts are here, they're not here. I want to turn my prayers on. My prayers are here, they're not, somewhere else. Which is something I'm greatly appreciative of, because it definitely keeps the game old school for me. Even though the whole old school feel term has just been shrugged off as a meme, it's still something that I hold really dear. Along with the polygons, I really love the polygons. One of the main reasons I'm still about is the graphics. I've always been a huge fan of just the lack of them. Part of the reason why Mod Ghost is my least favorite JMod. For the record, fuck Mod Ghost. I hate him. I hate everything he does. I just wish he would go away and leave the game to West, who is awesome, and everything he designs is amazing. Yeah, fuck Ghost. I like my polygons. Leave my polygons alone. I don't want this intricate looking landscape. I want my polygons, okay? Fuck off. Sorry for the rude words. And with the interface as well, just leading on from that, further exertion of pressure from third-party clients. I have not used OS Buddy for an extended period of time since it became OS Buddy. I used it when it was Orion, because it was the only available client at the time, believe it or not. They had a client out before the official client had come out, and then as soon as the official client came out, I jumped on the wagon because playing in the browser fucking sucked. It was around the time a lot of the browsers started abandoning Java as well, so you were sort of forced to play with it. Played very limited though, maybe with XP drops, and that was it. But yeah, further exertion of third-party clients. When you sit down and think that these orbs wouldn't exist without a third-party client, Geomancy as a spell wouldn't exist without the pressure exerted from third-party clients, the World Switcher would not exist without the pressure that was exerted on them from third-party clients, and just putting it plainly, I just want them to get rid of them altogether. I don't think that they should have ever gotten themselves into this quagmire of allowing it, because now they're just pushing what they can do. It's part of the reason why I'm thankful that the interface is still mostly the same, because I'm really quite surprised that things like the special attack isn't, up in this corner here or something, like, or the stat boosts are down on just above my chat box like they are in RuneScape 3, just because it's something that third-party clients have. So for the record with those, fuck the third-party clients. Nothing against the people that use them, just the fact that they use them, but secretly hoping that information gets leaked or something petulant like that, just to sort of shove people in the right direction away from them, because they are very damaging to the game, in my opinion. Oh, but if you don't like them, don't use them. I don't use them. I really don't. The occasional testing of an XP rate. I think the last time I actually tried, I tried it for a Necreals task earlier just to check my XP rate, and aside from that, it was playing on it when I did my fishing hour for the Skilling Cup in 2015. I do not touch them. They are terrible. I hate them. I was given 2 weeks of Pro by Randy. And I think I activated the Pro, loaded up the client, and just closed it because there was just too much clutter everywhere, and just effectively wasted 2 weeks of OS Buddy Pro. It's not good. I also don't really like that I'm plugging them, but whatever. I'm a nobody. But yeah, I don't like those. I tend not to touch them. Outlawing them would be a win in my book. And the final one is the further pandering to Babyscape or Easyscape or AFKscape, whatever it's called these days. Babyscape is quite a nice one. I kind of like that because everybody just wants everything rather than working with the interface. Classic examples: make all, shift drop. Presets have been coming up quite a lot recently, which would just make me fucking piss myself laughing because it's something that the purist community that I think I'm still a part of would just bloody throw up at the idea of, because it's just, why? It was never hard to click in the first place, but no, it's not convenient enough. It improves my quality of life. Fuck you and your fucking quality of life, you little shit kid. And I guess a few of these things lead to deconstruction of the interface as well, so I can count that as like a double negative. Things like the make all interface was a deconstruction of an already existing interface, which was gross. People wanted make all as an option because who wants to make X? Like, no one makes X, they only make all, so replace the options. But instead we got this RS3 Babyscape, press space to make stuff interface, which just looks absolutely disgusting and just destroys a pretty iconic part of the game, which is, it is a point and click game. It's it's all there. It's a glorified cookie clicker, is what this game is. Point and click, but now it wasn't. It was, they added it with F keys, which aren't good, and now space to bloody make stuff is not good. I really dislike it, and I think it's really negative sort of precedence to set for where the game is going forward, because now that AHK is gone, people have just leaped on the bandwagon of like, what do I do now that I can't use it, despite loads of people still using it. So I'm very surprised that I wouldn't be surprised if presets or shift-click withdraw come into the game relatively soon, which would be absolutely brilliant, just to further destroy a very integral part of the game, for me at least. Yeah, people just do not like the most iconic part of the game, which is the grind, as I mentioned. Everybody is just, they want less game to play, for whatever reason. I guess leading off from this, a fourth reason, not really a reason I'd quit, but it's something that I don't like, which is community. It's difficult for me to say, seeing as though I am so sort of anchored to the community, with being an all-round important person and long-standing member of the back-to-back Skilling Cup champion old school RuneScape Skilling clan, Hexus at Hexus on Twitter. Please follow us. Yeah, I don't really like people. Their ideas don't, match up with what I value in the game. It's just dick waving. My dick's bigger than yours, my number's bigger than yours. They're all pretty entitled babies these days. I deserve this. This isn't too much to ask because I've done this. It was never about back when I was being brought up in the good old days. Yeah, and the people who I like or share same values with have sort of died out, or their opinions have been silenced. So yeah, I tend to sort of just be in the shadows with the whole big picture of the community. I don't really like to get involved with too much stuff. So yeah. I guess for some closing words, I'd kind of like to think that I've accomplished some of my goals if I ever did quit the game. Rank 1 non-alternate accounts, which is a meme, but, you know, I peaked at rank 6 EHP without ever making money, quote-unquote, unfairly, which is really nice, and I've enjoyed it. Rank 2 UK, I will never know what it's like to leave the house to go and buy a pint of milk, knowing that every person that I look at is inferior to me in their ability to play RuneScape, until Jace quits or something. If Hey Jace is watching this, please tell me what that's like. I imagine you get a boner from it. I know I would. Rank 1 anti-bully / champion of justice. I'd like to think that I've upheld the good and protected the weak. Don't bully. It's not nice. Hexus administrator, standing for coming up to 3 years. Both of which we're Skilling Cup champion. 2 years running of which we've been Skilling Cup champions. Was a member of the 50% success rate fishing team because purple sweets are fucking expensive, dude. I could only afford to do one attempt and only got 110k. It sucked. And the first Skilling Cup was a was a meme anyway. No one really tried too hard for that. I think Solace actually banked their rod by accident. One of their dudes did, which was funny. Yeah. That's really all I've contributed to the game. Guardian preserver of the old school feel. You know, I've kept my values to me these past couple of years really, but makes me feel good. And as I open the video, the game's been a part of my life for over half a year, so I really don't see myself quitting, but maybe it would be nice to try something new in the future. Maybe RuneScape is a bad habit. I've picked my nose for over 10 years and I still do that even though it's bad. Maybe RuneScape's similar in that sort of way. But yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on the game, on me as a person. Slightly more upbeat, slightly more flustered. Actually having something to follow. You know, a bit more organized, which I don't know, it's quite good. I enjoyed writing about this because there are a few things, brought up a few things that I don't think anyone really, a lot of people take for granted. Mainly the interface. I can't stress how much I value the interface. But yeah, it brought up some things. If you've got anything to say, you know, if I've said something really stupid, if I've said something that's resonated with you, let me know. It would make my day to read some lovely comments from you charming young people. But now I'm gonna go and make a cup of tea and have some toast. And thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to me talk about me. Thank you.